Welcome to Year 8 English, Term 1 at Pacific Pines State High School. This is a short introduction to our first unit, and you'll be looking at some television series, firstly Daria and possibly then The Simpsons. And by the end of week 10, you will be able to create an oral presentation and persuade us from one of the characters' point of view on a moral issue that was raised in a particular episode. So the overall objective is, firstly, we're going to examine drama series and visual texts, and from these visual texts we'll be able to understand how meaning is created. So we'll look at colour and sound effects and screenshots, close-ups and some long shots. And we'll see how the director makes meaning and starts to persuade you, the audience, and affect your emotional reactions and judgments of characters. So then we'll look closely at the characters themselves and we'll consider their different viewpoints from their perspective, how it affects them on some moral and ethical issues that are raised in the particular episode. So the overarching theme will be for you to understand morals and understand ethics and understand the difference between the two. And apart from just building some skills in presenting orally, making some speeches in front of your class, you'll be able to take in your world beyond school this new concept about your own moral compass and am I doing the right thing? Even if it's legally correct and allowed, is it morally something that I'm comfortable with? So it's a great self-reflection unit as well. Some other world beyond school values for developing your public speaking is you're going to be working after Year 12 and for the rest of your life. And you see, the organisations that you work for, they compete, globally now. So that means they're not just competing with other Australian businesses, they're competing because of the internet with companies all over the world to produce goods or provide services. So a big trend now in workplaces where you'll be working is continuous improvement projects, and that sustains the existence of the company. So that means by continually improving their systems, their processes, that means that you'll get to keep your job because they'll be able to stay in business. So when you're working in these teams, on these continual improvement processes, you'll be cutting down on wasted time, on wasted resources that you would be using in your job, and you would be presenting things that you've identified back to your group to help the company save money. And as you're doing these presentations, you will actually be speaking to these people, and usually you'll be using multimodal presentations, for example, PowerPoint. So it's essential that school students learn and develop the skills of public speaking, because it doesn't matter if you're not going to be a teacher, if you're not going to be a politician or a lawyer. All employees need to be able now to speak publicly in their teams. Okay, you need to be able to speak in groups of people. So we need to get you used to that, build your skills in that, get you confident in it, and actually make it a process that you are going to enjoy. Now, this assessment piece and what we're studying our unit, that has come from the national curriculum. Now, we've actually chosen to use the C2C resources that are scheduled and suggested for Year 8s in Term 3, and we've actually shifted it up to Term 1. That gives us a lot of lead-in time. We've only got one assessment piece in this first term, so and it's a text that you can relate to by using cartoons. It's not a scary text, okay? It's something very familiar. But essentially, because we've got a lot of lead-in time, we can take a good length of time and not overwhelm you with the speed of C2C. So a couple of dates. Your teacher will be looking at your work booklets. There's some scaffolding booklets that help build some ideas for you for your 2-minute speech. That will be due round about week 6, depending on your class and the speed that you're managing it, and your own teacher's discretion. Okay, so just keep in mind round about week 6, your work booklets are due. Now, you'll get lots of feedback from those work booklets, and that'll help you draft an actual speech by week 8. Now, that actually needs to be submitted to your teacher. Okay, it's essential that you get some draft feedback. That's your one-on-one chance in a class of 28 to 30 students. That gives you one-on-one tutorial support from your teacher, so you must get that draft feedback in. By the end of week 9, that draft feedback will come back to you, and you'll be able to enhance that, improve it, making some changes that your teacher's suggesting, and starting to rehearse your speech. By week 10, all of the speeches will be delivered from your class, little 2-minute speeches, nothing too major or overwhelming at the moment, and you'll be able to present that to your class. Of course, in week 9, if there's anyone leaving early for the Easter holidays, make sure you let your teacher know by about week 8, and they can schedule you for an early submission, so you can be one of the first ones to present to the class. So the actual assessment itself, you choose a character from the text to be studied, you assume their identity, and you persuade your audience in a speech whether your actions, you the character, were moral or immoral. And your whole speech will go for about 2 minutes. So we look forward, us teachers, to working with you throughout term 1. We're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot of adult concepts now here at high school, and be able to have some very mature adult level conversations with your family and friends outside of school. You know, getting some ideas about what's moral and what's ethical, and also starting to watch TV in a different way, looking at how the directors use different techniques to persuade an audience. So it's going to be a lot of fun.